Hey, Jason here from Simply Swider. If your KitchenAid dishwasher is showing error codes, you're in the right place. In the next 12 minutes, I'll walk you through the 5 most common codes and show you exactly how to fix them yourself. The best part? Most of these fixes take under 30 minutes and cost less than $50. Before we get started, if you run into any questions, jump into our Facebook group. Links in the description. We've got thousands of people helping each other fix their appliances, and I pop in there daily to help out. The biggest issue I see is circulation motor problems. You'll get a 4, 3 code, or sometimes F7. What's happening here is your dishwasher fills up with water just fine, drains perfectly, but those spray arms aren't doing anything. I had this customer last month call me in a panic because her dishes were coming out just as dirty as when they went in. Turned out the circulation motor wasn't running. Here's how you'll know it's this problem. The unit goes through its cycle, but you don't hear that familiar swooshing sound of water spraying around. First things first, safety. Always disconnect power before working on any dishwasher. Unplug it for 10 minutes to let the capacitors discharge and clear software glitches. You'll need a flashlight and possibly a screwdriver for the next steps. While you're waiting, pull out those bottom dish racks and check the filters for debris buildup. Clogged filters can strain the motor and trigger this exact error. If you've got one of the newer smart models from 2024 or 2025, run a diagnostic through the KitchenAid app before you do anything else. Now, here's where it gets tricky. Sometimes the motor's fine, but the control board isn't sending power to it. If your reset didn't work and the filters are clean, you might need to check the wiring harness near the motor for loose connections or damage. Another really common problem is the float switch acting up, giving you codes like 6, 4, F6, E4, or just F4. This little switch sits in the bottom of your dishwasher tub and it's supposed to prevent overfills. When it gets stuck or fails, your dishwasher thinks it's about to overflow even when it's not. You'll know this is your problem when the error pops up, but there's no actual flooding happening. I remember this guy who kept getting the 6, 4 code. Turned out a piece of broken glass was wedged under his float switch. Here's your fix. Remove the bottom dish rack completely. Look in the front left corner of the tub floor for a small white dome about the size of a golf ball. That's your float switch. Lift it straight up about an inch, then let it drop. It should move freely and make a slight clicking sound when it settles. Clean out any debris or crud that's keeping it from moving smoothly. Sometimes, though, the float switch is working perfectly, but your water inlet valve is the real culprit. If that valve won't shut off properly, it'll overfill the tub and trigger this error. Oh, and if you see suds in there that can also set off this code, run an empty cycle with about a cup of white vinegar to cut through any leftover soap residue. Drainage failures show up as code 8, 4, 8 blinks, pause, 4 blinks. This one's frustrating because your dishwasher will start the cycle but shut down partway through, leaving you with standing water in the tub. Most 8 to 4 codes are simple clogs. Here's your step-by-step check. First, remove the bottom rack and look for standing water. If there's more than a cup of water remaining after a cycle, you've got a drainage issue. Check the garbage disposal if your dishwasher connects to one. Run it for 30 seconds. Next, remove the filter assembly at the bottom and check for debris. Start by checking that drain line connection for any buildup or crud. Make sure the check valve in your drain loop isn't allowing water to flow back into the tub. If you don't see any obvious clogs, your drain pump might be weak or starting to fail. Here's a quick test. If your dishes are still warm and wet after the fault, that means the pump was trying to run but couldn't keep up. Water supply issues typically show up as 6, 1 or F1 codes. F1 is pretty straightforward. It's telling you the dishwasher can't get water. Now, before you start tearing into anything, make sure that door is closed all the way. I know it sounds obvious, but F1 can pop up if the door isn't seated properly. Check your water supply hoses and valves to make sure everything's turned on and working. Sometimes the supply looks fine from the outside, but the control board isn't getting the signal it needs. If your water pressure is good and the hoses look solid, you might be looking at a control board issue that needs professional diagnosis. Temperature problems come in 2 flavors, F3 and F6. F3 means there's something wrong with your heating element system, while F6 is telling you the water temperature is off, either too hot or too cold for the cycle. You'll notice F3 when your dishes aren't drying properly after a cycle. The heating element or thermostat might be shot. For F6, check your water heater settings first. If your house water is too hot or too cold, it can trigger this code. Sometimes it's the dishwasher's internal temperature sensor that's gone bad and needs replacing. All right, so KitchenAid dishwashers are pretty reliable, but when they act up, they usually throw specific error codes to let you know what's going wrong. I'm going to tackle these problems from the most common to the least common, starting with simple fixes and working our way up to the more involved repairs. Here's the thing, a lot of these codes sound scary, but they're actually pointing you right to the problem. Float switches are much more affordable, usually under 20 bucks from most parts suppliers. This is definitely a DIY friendly repair, and honestly, cleaning debris out from around the switch fixes the problem half the time without needing any new parts. The tricky part is figuring out if it's really the switch or if your water inlet valve is overfilling the tub. Sometimes what looks like a float switch problem is actually the inlet valve not shutting off when it should. You can see right there on the screen some of the models that run into these issues most often. Take a look and see if your dishwasher's listed. You might recognize your own model number up there. Don't worry about memorizing all those numbers. Just check if yours is among the ones shown. Here's your action plan. First, try a 10-minute power reset for any error code. Second, clean your filters and check for clogs. Third, identify your specific error code and follow the steps I showed you. Remember, if you're looking at repairs over $200 on a dishwasher older than 7 years, consider replacement instead. Remember, parts like circulation motors can run over 200 bucks, so weigh that against the age and overall condition of your dishwasher. If you guys know someone who's having appliance troubles, please send them the link to this video or a link to my channel where I have tons of other videos showing how to fix pretty common issues with appliances, sometimes for free or as little cost as possible. It sure beats having a repairman come out and spending several hundred for them to fix it when it could be something so simple. If this helped you get your dishwasher working again, hit that like button and drop a comment below. Let me know which fix worked for you. Really helps other people with the same problem. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. We'll get this out to more folks who need to save some time and money. Thanks for watching, and I hope you guys have a great day.